Welcome back. In this session, we'll explore why how we collect data is just as important as what data we collect. Understanding study design sets the foundation for valid statistical inference. Data doesn't speak for itself. How we collect it shapes the story it tells. If a study is poorly designed, even the most sophisticated analysis won't be trustworthy. Today, we'll look at how to avoid those traps. There are two broad types of studies, observational and experimental. In observational studies, we just measure, there's no intervention. Experimental studies, on the other hand, involve a deliberate treatment. Only experiments, if they're well designed, can suggest cause and effect. Here are some common observational studies. Notice in each case, the researcher is simply watching, recording, or comparing, but not influencing who receives what. In contrast, experimental studies involve active intervention. These examples show situations where the researcher applies a treatment or condition and measures the outcome. Random assignment plays a key role in making these results meaningful. Let's define some critical terms. Random sampling is about how we select a group from the population. Random assignment is about how we split subjects into groups once we have them. Confounding variables are lurking influences that can distort results, and bias can sneak in during sampling or measurement. These two processes are often confused. Sampling helps us generalize to the population. Assignment helps us ensure fair comparison between groups. Both rely on randomness, but they serve very different purposes. A poorly designed study opens the door to many problems. If participants self-select, if parts of the population are missing, if groups aren't randomly assigned, or if variables are confounded, our conclusions may be completely off. Here's a scenario for you to reflect on. A study finds that students who eat breakfast score higher on tests. Can we say that breakfast causes better performance? Or is this just a correlation? Think critically about the design. Go ahead and pause your video here until you have worked out your solution. All right, now let's go through the solution. At first glance, it might be tempting to conclude that eating breakfast causes better test performance. But let's slow down and think carefully about the type of study this is. Based on the description, this appears to be an observational study. The researchers are measuring existing behaviors, who eats breakfast, and comparing outcomes like test scores. They aren't assigning students to breakfast or no breakfast groups at random. Because it's observational, we cannot infer causation from this result. All we can say is that there's a correlation between eating breakfast and test scores. So what else could explain the difference? There are likely confounding variables, factors that are related to both eating breakfast and academic performance. For example, students who eat breakfast may have more consistent routines, better access to food, or more parental support. They might also get more sleep, have higher socioeconomic status, or attend better resourced schools. These factors could all contribute to better test performance, independent of the breakfast itself. The only way to test for a causal relationship would be to design a randomized experiment. In that setup, we'd randomly assign some students to eat breakfast and others not to, and then compare the performance while controlling for other variables. In conclusion, no, we cannot conclude that breakfast causes higher test scores based on this observational study alone. But we can use it as a prompt for further research and more rigorous experimental design. Excuse me. Now that we understand the difference between observational and experimental designs, we'll turn to the next piece, how we actually select samples from the population. In the next video, we'll explore sampling plans, techniques, and how randomness plays a vital role in both collection and experimentation.